Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this episode, wait, is it an episode? In this video, we're going to talk about traveling during the age of COVID-19. What's it like to travel abroad during a pandemic? If you have been traveling, let me know what your experience was like in the comments below. 2020 has been a crazy year for everyone, yes, but despite all of that, I have been doing my fair share of traveling. I've been kind of blessed, actually. This year, I got to go to Cartagena, Colombia in February, Mexico twice this year in March and again in May, and I'm going to the Dominican Republic in November. So before I get into it, I want to tell you guys a little bit how traveling in the States and how traveling abroad are different. I mean, for obvious reasons, yes, but especially this year during the year of COVID. In July, I went to visit my family in Tennessee, in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, there we go. Went to visit my family for the 4th. Being in Nashville during the pandemic was really different. There was a restaurant right across the street from the hotel we were staying at called Hattie B's. It's really popular, known for its great chicken, Nashville hot chicken. And we peered out, we saw the patio. They were like, the inside's closed, but you guys can do self-serve in the patio. You can eat out there. You can order your food, take it outside to eat. There were so many people on the patio. It was packed. I'd always wanted to try Hattie B's. Just too many people, too many crowds. No one was wearing masks. People were living their best lives like COVID is not going on. And that's cool, but I didn't want to be in that. So we went next door to Midtown Cafe. Midtown Cafe is a really awesome, amazing place, and they have the bomb smoked cheddar grits, smoked Gouda grits. And luckily they weren't crowded, and luckily they didn't have too many people where they had to turn people away. There was like just enough space where they could sit you in the corner over here and you right there, and then they were really adhering to like 6 feet apart and every other table, so I felt safe eating there. So we ate here most days, but just even walking down the street, we drove by 2nd Avenue one day, and if you don't know, 2nd Avenue in Nashville is popping. That's where all the bars and the honky tonks are. People just on the street, crowds of people on the street, not caring that there's a disease going on, no masks, no social distancing at all. So that was my experience traveling in the States during COVID. I really didn't go anywhere. It was just to see family. Anyways, my experiences abroad have been way different. We got back from our trip in Cartagena around late February, and that's when talks of quarantine were happening. And we were like, oh my goodness, shit is getting really real, y'all. So we were like, well, if we're gonna be in the house for a couple of months, might as well do one last hurrah, one quick getaway and sneak back. So we went to Mexico. So let's talk about transportation. We got to the airport. First of all, airports are like ghost towns. Why do I want to say that? What the Airports are like ghost towns now. Nobody is there. It's really freaking weird for a place where you normally see thousands of people and for there to be like 30 people. That was really weird. But as a result, you get to move through it a lot faster. So that's a plus. And pretty much everyone you come in contact with has a bottle of sanitizer by their stand. We get on the plane. They're still keeping the middle seats empty. We're flying on Delta. So I'm with my husband. We're sitting beside each other. People aren't traveling like they're used to. So there definitely aren't as many people on planes anymore. And they want to make sure that you wear your mask. So all these videos that you see of people arguing with flight attendants not wanting to wear their masks. I mean, they tell you when you book your ticket that you have to wear a mask. They tell you in the airport that you have to wear a mask. There is a video that you watch before takeoff where they're like, hey, make sure you wear your mask over your nose and mouth. at all times. So you know what the deal is. I don't understand why you act brand new when the stewardess is like, put your mask back on. But luckily, we didn't have any problems with that. Snack time on planes is very much different now. So they walk down the aisles and they hand you a pre-packaged Ziploc bag with a small bottle of water in there and some snacks for you to eat. And they're like, hey, eat your snack, that's great, and then put your mask back on, please and thank you. So it's very different. No ordering drinks. I just knew I was gonna be like, yeah, rum and coke, and be lit going down there. But I mean, I brought my own, but I thought I would at least have the option to get a Coke, and they were just like, nope, water, here you go. So that is something different about our air travel during the pandemic. We were in Mexico right as the country was starting to implement and shut down places to keep everyone safe. So this is our last day in Playa del Carmen. It is a Sunday. And I was talking with the lady at the desk, and we were just talking about coronavirus, how it's affecting Mexico. I'm come out today and nobody's on the streets. It is absolutely kind of bare, like barely any cars, barely any people. It's kind of crazy. Coco Bongo is right across the street. They closed. They closed last night on a Saturday. All the bars and clubs had to shut down for at least 2 weeks. They don't know what's gonna happen. Playa now has one case of corona. She was telling us inside, but you know, like people just really don't know what's gonna happen. It's like uncharted territory. It's crazy out here. And they are just as worried as everyone else about like work and what's gonna happen next. We spoke to our cab driver who was driving us to the airport, and he was saying how, you know, Playa del Carmen exists purely for tourism, basically. You know, like so many people, the majority of the people there depend on tourism to make their living, and if there's no tourists coming, it's going to be hard for them.
In this area, all people will live for tourism.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So all the hotel now is closed. Waiters, housekeeping,
Yeah.
they don't have to work.
Oh yeah, we know.
All the people they live here for a day.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they don't have money saved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like me, we don't have money.
Yeah.
I need to work there every day.
Yeah.
And tomorrow I try to go to catch another trip or work in town, but we don't have people live now in the home.
Yeah.
Nobody needs taxis.
Yeah.
It's hard. This is where I take my father-in-law. They come here. They have a little farm,
Mm-hmm.
and we can eat there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
That is.
Oh yeah.
So that you got
Because if we
food.
stay here, we don't have money. We don't have food.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids. My wife.
Yeah. So we get back from Mexico, quarantine happens, everyone's staying at home, things start to open up, and in August we decide we want to go to Mexico again, right? But we want to do it safely. Before we went to Mexico, we wanted to do things to boost our immunity so our immune system would be stronger. We started taking multivitamins, loading up on vitamin C. Ginger shots are really, really good for your immunity and for digestive health. So I was doing that, and eating ginger tea, however you can consume it. Also, garlic is really great for colds and to prevent a cold. I'll take a clove of garlic, chop it up, and swallow it like a pill. Chop it up really fine because I tried eating it. It's just... When we arrive in Mexico, we walk through the airport, we have our bags. People will try to get your attention and they're like, hey, you need a cab? Somebody tried to charge us $60 for a cab to go to Playa. I was like, no, sir. I know the prices. I know it's been hard and maybe you're doing that for inflation because you're not working as much anymore, but no, $60, that's a no-go. But all you have to do is tell them ADO and they leave you alone because they're like, oh, you're hip to the game. She already knows what's going on. So we're like, there's no point of even talking her into taking a cab. ADO is much cheaper and their buses are really, really nice. It's like a super nice chartered bus, better than anything here in the States. Like better, because ADO is kind of equivalent to their Greyhound, but if you've ever been on Greyhound, it is not the business, okay? The Greyhound here drops you off right in front of Magic City, which is, it can be a plus and a negative. I mean, you know, depending on how you look at it. Depending on where you go on ADO, it's anywhere between, I would say, $7 to $15. And this time around, because of tourism and the country's hurting, prices were a bit more expensive. So this time it was about $22 for my husband and I to take the ADO down to Playa. Got here about 2 hours ago, took the ADO. There were not a lot of people on that bus. So we were able to social distance. Really, it was what, like 12 people on the bus? It wasn't a whole lot. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of people. Once we arrived in Playa, we caught a cab to our Airbnb. We get in the car and there is literally a plastic sheet separating the cabbie from the passengers. I was like, wow, that's kind of brilliant, actually. So we went to Playa del Carmen again this time, and we decided that Airbnb was the best way to go for us, because if we stayed in a hotel or a resort, there's still people staying there. And like we said, I wanted to limit my exposure to people as much as possible, as much as I could do, right? So we decided that Airbnb was the way to go, but we needed an Airbnb with a private pool because I love pools and will literally be in one till like 2 a.m. if you let me. So I hate places with curfews for their pools. Like, oh, the pool closes at 10 and then you try to sneak in and then there's always someone's there who's like, yo, get out. Super lame. We go to our Airbnb, we get a few provisions for food. Frank, my husband, likes to cook breakfast in the morning, but you know, we knew we were going to be going to restaurants. Definitely. I've been to Mexico quite a few times. There are some restaurants that are must go-tos when I go. So I knew I was going to be eating good. That was part of the trip, right? Because y'all, I don't know about y'all, but I was so sick and tired of my own food. During COVID, I missed restaurants. I missed someone else bringing me the meal and taking care of the dishes. Y'all, the struggle was real. The restaurants were doing their part to keep everyone safe from COVID too. So when you walk up to the restaurant, first thing they do is hand sanitizer, take this, and it's not an ask, it's a hold out your hand squirt sort of thing. Like, they're not asking nobody, no permission around here. You just got to do this, right? So they do that. They take your temperature. So it's kind of like simultaneous. Like, we were walking up and someone's pointing the temperature gun at me and someone's like, yeah, Frank, take this sanitizer. And then some of the restaurants even write down your name so that just in case something pops off, they can do contact tracing to know who was there. There was one time, however, we went to a restaurant and we were like, yeah, no. Something happened and we didn't get out to eat until late. So we went to this one place called Santito's. Now it's like a club / lounge and restaurant, AKA COVID Central. We walked up and we immediately saw all the people there and I was like, no, thank you. So we walked up to get in. They were like, hey, we're gonna close in 30 minutes, but if that's cool, you can come on in. I told them, actually, I'm just interested in ordering some food and I can get that to go. I don't have to be here. We ordered our food and we stood to wait outside. The lady kept asking us, she was like, hey, you guys can come inside and wait if you want. And I was like, no. I'm so good. I'm very fine right here. Matter of fact, even though I was at least like 12 feet away from the other people, I was like, I still feel like that's too close. Can I get another 6 feet away? Oh, and the stores, like the little convenience stores and whatnot, they all have like this little mat at the floor when you walk in. It's filled with some sort of sanitizing solution for your shoes. Also, when you walk into the convenience store or before you walk into the store, there are signs prominently placed on the front doors saying that everyone has to wear masks in English and both in Spanish. So they do not play about it down there. You know, in many ways, I felt kind of safer there than here in the States because, you know, not everyone wants to wear masks, and it very much felt like, no, this is what you're going to do, not what you have the option to do. So before we took this trip, we did our research because you got to find out which countries are open. I mean, we knew Mexico was open, which is why we chose it. So, and then, you know, I like going there. But we had to find out if the beaches were open or closed. They were closed. They opened the day that we left. I was quite sad, but we snuck out onto the beach anyways. We walked to the beach. There were a few people there as well. It was not crowded at all. It was like a couple 20 feet, another couple 30 feet, a group of friends. You know, everyone was responsible and spacing out. Plus, I don't like to be up under people at the beach anyway, so that's just my thing. But we did attempt to go. We went to the beach. I won't say attempt because we actually went, and I actually got in the water. We got to the beach, we got in the water, the cops drove by and they saw us, but they didn't say anything. And I was like, what? How long can we get away with this? Okay. So we were in the water for like 20, maybe 30 minutes on the beach in the water having fun. But, so the popo just came by and kicked us out the water. We were in there for a good minute too though, but they're like, hey, you gotta come out. Like, damn.
They gave us time though. They rolled by before and didn't say anything.
They didn't, and I thought they weren't gonna say anything, so, you know.
So it looked like they're probably on a timer. And they just drive past and they see how many people there are before they kick them out.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was decent timing though, and with that, we will go to eat.
'Cause we was hungry.
Have margaritas, so. Thanks so much, guys. That is my experience about traveling abroad during the pandemic, COVID-19. Are people being safe in the countries that you all are going to, or did you just stay here at home? Be sure to subscribe and like the video, please. I appreciate that. Trying to build my channel would go so far.